Hello, dear friends. This is Bob Hatton. This is the Encourager. I'm so glad you can join me today. Now, today I want to finish this theme about the Father heart of God. That is, I just want to have a pause, and I'll come back to you on Ash Wednesday. That is probably in February, and we'll have another look, maybe from another viewpoint, and learn how we can live with affirmation from the Father in heaven. So today is the last episode of the Father Heart of God coming home at Christmas, but tomorrow I will bring you one last message. It will be a Christmas message. I'm looking forward to that. So I would like us to go back to Luke chapter 15. This is a story of the prodigal son, the son who was lost. We've looked quite extensively at this text. Now, if you remember, when the story begins, Jesus is telling this story, and he says there was a man who had two sons, and the youngest son came to him and he said, "Father, give me that what belongs to me." And then he left, and of course he was in a foreign country, and he brought shame, and the scandal around him brought shame on the name of his father, and then he lost all his money. There was an economic crisis, and he got a job with the pigs, and then decided to go home. And that we read, what happens when he got home, that the father received him and so on. And he then started a celebration. He put the best robe on his shoulders. He put a ring on his finger. He put shoes on his feet. And then he had the fatted calf slaughtered, made a big feast. And they had music and they had dancing, and all the neighbors came to celebrate with him. But remember, at the beginning, Jesus said there was a man who had two sons, and there's this other son who now appears in the story. And when he comes home, he can hear the celebration, and he feels the vibes that are coming out of the house, and so many people are there, and he asks one of the servants, what's happening, what's happening now. And the servant says in verse 27, your brother has come and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has received him back safe and sound. And instead of the older brother rejoicing about that and being very happy that his brother has come, in verse 28 he said he was angry and refused to go in. So his father came out and entreated him, and he answered his father. He said, "Look, these many years I have served you." And the Greek expression here means I have worked like a slave. I have served you, but you never gave me a young goat that I might celebrate with my friends. He is very upset about this, and he feels that he is not getting what he should have got. The problem is with this story, there are two prodigal sons. There's one who leaves and there's one who stays behind, but both of their hearts are far away from the Father. Both don't understand the extravagant love that God the Father has got for them. And because we serve God, that doesn't mean that he's going to bless us even more. Sometimes we get less blessing when we serve him than when we are wayward. But still, his love is for us. He receives us. He accepts us. And we can't make ourselves any more acceptable to God than what Jesus' death did on the cross. We don't make ourselves acceptable to God by doing a lot of good works, by serving him like a slave. But we receive his love because he gives us his love because of that what Jesus has earned. We don't earn anything with God. God gives. He gives without cost. He gives from his grace. And this is so important. Sometimes we notice that we're in church and we're working for God and we're very faithful and we're doing all we can, and we sing in the choir, we clean the church, we do any kind of ministry anybody helps us to do. We go and visit the sick and so on. And then a new person comes in the church and we listen that he's had a really bad life, but God has saved him now. Now he's in the church, and suddenly he just seems to grow and there's such a gifting in him, and he's doing things that we couldn't do. We're wondering, why don't I have this ability? Why don't I bring that fruit that he's doing? I've been here for 20, 30 years, and I'm still not doing this, getting the same results that this young guy is doing, who's only just joined us. And sometimes maybe we become a little bit jealous. Sometimes maybe we start to resent the new person. We start to resent the blessing on this life, and feeling that we've not got blessing on our life. But really, we need to look into the heart of God again and see that he loves us, and he loves you just as much as he loves the other person. There's no difference. And if we compare ourselves to one another, Paul says, that's not good. So don't do it. Just remember the words like it in 1 John chapter 3 verse 1. Behold, what manner of love hath the Father lavished upon us, that we might be called the children of God. And that is what we are. We are the children of God. We are in his family. And some of the children are very loud and some are very quiet, but the Father loves them all dearly. And the Father loves you dearly. So if you're a lost son who's gone far away from the Father's heart, you can come back at this Christmas. You can come back anytime, but come back at Christmas. And if you're the son who's in the house and has never been anywhere, but your heart is now far away from this Father, you can come back to his heart. And that's sometimes a way, that a journey that's longer than the other journey. But you can come back and he'll receive you. And you're not there just to serve and to work like a slave and to try to earn his attention, try to earn his recognition. He recognizes you. He loves you. He's received you. You are a child of God. You are a son or a daughter of God. And that is pretty good news. Well, dear friends, I'll be back tomorrow, of course, with this special Christmas message that I want to share with you. And then I will also be back on Ash Wednesday, and we're going to have a look, how can I live with the affirmation of the Father? God bless you. Have a good day. Your encourager, your Bob Hatton.